Hey guys, righto. So we've had some questions sent to us just in relation to reptiles and aggression. Now, with reptiles, especially hatchlings, so newly born reptiles, you're going to find that they are what's called defensive. Now, when you look at their environment, which is their safe bubble of their enclosure, you've now opened that up and going in to reach down and grab them. So for them, that is like predator behavior coming down on top of them that wants to eat or kill them for being in their area. So what you've got to kind of remember and get that sort of psychology around is that they think you're a threat. So what you can do to minimize this and stop being such a threat to them is by doing the 5 minute a day handling. So 5 minutes a day for the first, say, 2 weeks. And we're going to just do 5 minutes of easy, nice handling, and you can do that kind of stuff, all right? So basic handling, we're getting them in and out for baths every day anyway, so you can add this extra 5 minutes of handling in on top of that. It's not going to make a big difference, but you don't want to be constantly doing it because all you're going to do is stress them out when you do such a large volume of handling in a short space of time, being that you might do it every afternoon 3 or 4 or 5 times, which is what you don't want to do. We don't recommend getting them out for long periods of time either, because you can get them to stress, especially with snakes when they first go home. You really want to wait that 2 weeks and not handle them at all. All you want to do is just clean their tank if they've dirtied it, or their water dish every day as you would to clean it out. Now, if you guys, I think someone asked us if you had a big snake and they were sort of snappy and everything like that, and it was because they only ever fed it in the tank. Now, I don't believe, and there's nothing that proves to me that by feeding a reptile in a tank, it causes them to be cage defensive. Now, what you'll find with a lot of people who have these cage defensive type behaviors in their snakes is because they've had a long period of time of just being left alone, and then you open the tank, you feed it, and you close it back up because you are now scared to handle it because you're scared to get bitten. Unfortunately, being bitten by a snake is something that you have to live with. It's going to happen. I get bitten all the time, especially when we get out, say, to lace munnel or something. I get smashed up by her every time. So it's a fact of life, unfortunately. You just got to get past that. But what you can do to really minimize a lot of this stuff is what we use is hook training. So what you can do is you can get a hook and you can rub it down the back end of the snake, okay? That lets the snake know that you are there. They may flinch for the first couple of times, but don't shut it up and just leave it, all right? What you've got to do then is let the snake move through the hook, and then you can just sort of do that as a safety sort of distance between you and the snake, so it doesn't sort of bite you. If it does, it'll sort of, have a bit of a go at the hook, but that's about it. All right, now you want to do this all the time, okay? So what you want to break is that repetitive nature of you opening the tank, so that sliding door, the key unlocking, all that sort of thing is become a cue now for your snake that then triggers a food response. So that food response is what you're seeing as a cage defensive mechanism, okay? So if we can break that repetition of the snake's behavior of the feeding response, you can then break that chain of the cage aggression, which is what you all call it, which is a cage defensive posture, which is driven through a food response. All right, so that's another one, guys, and I think we had a couple others that we'll be getting to in another video, because I think that's unrelated anyway. I just got to go through and have a look. So come on down, guys, if you want to learn anything about your reptiles or all that kind of stuff. Come chat with me. I'm more than happy to give you guys all the information if you guys want to set up at home sustainability breeding programs for your insects and that. I'm more than happy to teach you guys how to do all that kind of stuff. I want to empower you guys as much as we can so that you guys, as the future of the hobby, are able to give a positive effect onto the rest of those people who will be coming into the hobby in the next few years, because it is a booming hobby and there are going to be more and more people. So the more information that I can give to you guys, the more information you guys can give to the new guys, which is correct, and not sort of the Google answer to everything, which is a fair bit of it's American and the UK, which are pretty out there on their outlook on reptiles, especially bearded dragons. So Oh, there was another question in relation to bearded dragons as well, with what's the best substrate. And now we use sand. I've only ever used sand. We have trialed paper on hatches and stuff, and I hated it. There is a couple of reptile carpets around that have got like a plastic covering that has rocks and stuff on it. They work all right. You can just take them out and hose them off. A lot of people use fake grass. It's okay, but you've got to make sure you spend a little bit of money on your fake grass. There are a few of them out there that aren't UV stable, and they will break down, and then your bearded dragons will start eating them, and then we get impactation issues and all that kind of stuff, which it's quite serious. It is an easy fix if you get it early. However, if it's not caught early, it is life-threatening. So we do say always, whenever you're buying plants as well as your fake grass for your bottom, just double check that they're UV stable, and then that way they're all good. And never buy thin, cheap stuff, because what you'll find is it'll be real brittle and it'll break off and they'll chew it. So that's that. But yeah, so sand's really, really good. I've never ever had any dramas with it. I really do like it. If you sort of stay with sand, you can't go wrong. I know there's a brand out there, I don't know which one it is, but they call it Reptile Bedding, and a lot of people are being suggested that by other stores as well as chain market sort of places, a lot of the big ones. And it's a coconut fiber stuff. Please do not use that for your bearded dragons, or any dragon really, not even your blue tongues, because it is terrible stuff and it causes respiratory infections, because the dust inside the cocoa fibers gets into their respiratory system, and it causes an infection, because there's a lot of junk sort of building up in there and dust and that. So that's another one, guys. So if that answers the question, I'm sorry it was a bit of a long-winded one, but yeah, so sand is what I'd recommend. But yeah, otherwise, guys, like I said, come in if you want to learn. I'm more than happy to teach you guys. So just pop in anytime. You know where we are now. So, and if you don't, mobile servo on Ingham Road. We're down on the right-hand letterbox, and you just follow all the way down into the industrial area. All right, guys. See ya.